Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Notre Dame fans. Mike Singer and Kyle Kelly live on the Blue and Gold YouTube channel with a show that figures to be an interesting one, to say the least. Lots to discuss on this show. Folks, please hit the thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. The show is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors, and no one's going to get you ready for game day like Academy. So swing on by your local Academy store, and you got 8 across the state of Indiana, including a new store coming soon to Mishawaka. So you got a lot of options for those in the Hoosier State. And you can also shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys to Ray-Ban Meta glasses to Ghost OG Rainbow Sherbert fast pitch bat to game cameras to stainless steel water bottles to shoes to everything. So check it out at academy.com. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kyle, I know you're a busy guy, a lot of writing. You're engaged. You are writing the Freeman transcript from his press conference today. You doing all right, friend?
Yeah, I am. I'm just wondering if the guy in my summer roller hockey league got his meta glasses from Academy Sports Outdoor. So that guy's a loser. He always tries to chirp me, but sorry, my friend, you are the loser for videoing our rec league / beer league roller hockey games. And
Does he do this for like social media or something?
oh, he puts them on TikTok, and they get a whole 64 views.
Did you ever like go and click on it just to see?
I haven't watched them because I don't have TikTok, so don't really care.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the Blue and Gold YouTube channel for more content. J-Car wants defensive tackle info. Maybe we can get to that later in the show. I like where your head's at, J-Car. Let's see. On the docket today, we have, does Notre Dame sign a top 5 class? What needs to happen for that? Interested to see what Kyle Kelly has to say. We'll talk about the 2027 class, like potential early flips for Notre Dame, who could be around the corner for the Irish in that class. Kyle and I were both on the road. I mean, I'm not trying to like hype something up that's not like, there's names that Notre Dame is working on that are committed to other schools. I'm not saying that like there's going to be a flip anytime soon or anything like that, but we're going to talk about some names there. Kyle and I were on the road last week. So who did we see? How did those guys look? And then Kyle wanted to end the show with, some Notre Dame commits and who's standing out this season. Kyle does a great job tracking the Notre Dame commits in their high school seasons, the few in the 27 class. And then is it 27 commits in 26? It is. So a blue chip ratio of 74% too, very strong. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, let's start off by discussing the 26 class. Notre Dame, according to the Rivals Industry ranking, as the number 3 class in the country. But if you just sort it by Rivals alone, so this does not include 24/7 or ESPN's, Notre Dame's actually got the number 1 class in America. It's not by a wide margin over Georgia, but it is. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter right now. Is Notre Dame is the number 1 class just using Rivals rankings. But of course, we do want to be fair, and we go by the industry ranking. We're not going to like move the goalposts too much on this. Maybe a little bit. But, Notre Dame does have the number 3 class in the industry ranking. USC's at 1, Georgia's 2. So this is using 24/7 and ESPN as well as Rivals. And if you've been under a rock for the past few months, On3 bought Rivals, and On3 wasn't going to keep the On3 rankings and the Rivals rankings. So the old Rivals rankings and that 6.1 scale is the stupidest thing. That's gone away. And the On3 rankings with Charles Power and Cody Belair, we've had both those guys on the show. Those were just renamed Rivals to kind of keep the Rivals brand alive. Bo, it's good to see you, my friend. Lewis, good to see you, J-Car, Anthony, Sly Fox. Glad everyone is here. But yeah, number 3 class in America. And here's what I want to say before I give you the floor, Kyle. is I feel like a lot of Notre Dame fans will see this and be like, yeah, Mike, but we're going to drop. Yeah, it's very possible, right? It's very possible Notre Dame slips in the rankings. It's probable actually. But the thing is, I think the Notre Dame fans see this as when Notre Dame's oftentimes like in January or February, the number one team, and you have the media guys hyping it up, and then they drop down to like 10. This is not that. This is a lot different, right? That's like a February, March, April discussion. This is September 25th, and Notre Dame's at 3. Or just looking at rivals, number 1. Right, Kyle? Like, this is a whole different discussion. Usually, Notre Dame has already done that drop, and they're at like 7 or 8 and then finish at 10 or 11 or 12. Notre Dame's sticking at, they have 2 5-stars per the industry ranking in Joey O'Brien and Rodney Dunham, a 74% blue chip ratio. The blue chip ratio, which is just amount of 4 and 5 stars you have committed. What's the percentage? Notre Dame was just above 50% last year. And then in the 2024 class, 13 of the 23 commits. So yeah, just barely over 50%. If I'm just doing the math off the top of my head, I think, unless I'm an idiot. So this is just different, Kyle. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you started to hit on it. A lot of it has to do with the influx of high-end talent. We're seeing, obviously, a lot more 5-star caliber players commit to Notre Dame, which are those top 32 guys who will be 5 stars at the end of the cycle. You see it already there with Rodney Dunham and Joey O'Brien when it comes to the Rivals industry ranking. And it's not just the influx of five stars, it's the top 100 and top 150 guys. Notre Dame has a lot of top-end, top-tier talent. And as you said, that was reflected in the blue chip ratio, which is the number of 4 stars and 5 stars that Notre Dame has committed in the cycle relative to the total. I'm not a math guy, but basically the number of 4 stars and 5-star commits divided by the number of total
commits. Yeah.
So the balance of those commits being the 3 stars, and if there are any unranked guys. So that's been the big difference this year. And the other thing is the guy, I've taken over this role over the last couple of years of, writing our ranking story every time Rivals updates their rankings. So I kind of have built in my head, what the movement looks like every time Rivals updates their rankings, which is like every, 10 weeks
3 months.
Or so.
Yeah.
So, and I will say these last 2 rankings updates just from Rivals have been the most favorable toward Notre Dame that I've seen in my time covering.
Completely agree.
So we talk about
was there any drops, like notable drops? Like
there's not, no. There really isn't. Yeah. So we talk about in our past shows in past years how Notre Dame sorry, I'm getting a call. My life is so crazy this week. So we talk about how where was I going with how Notre Dame can improve their class ranking late in the cycle. And usually the only way you can really do it is by those recruits improving their rankings because of their development during their senior seasons. In past years, I felt like guys would make the big step. They really haven't. Well, guess what? The guys in Notre Dame's class this year have made a huge step in the first part of their senior seasons.
Yeah.
Just a couple of examples. Joey O'Brien, he's jumped up from being the number 4 safety and a top 50 prospect in the country to a guy in the top 32 and Rivals as number 1 safety. Gregory Patrick, a guy that kind of dropped down a little bit during the summer. He moved up, a number of different spots in the rankings. Jazz Smith, another guy that's been like in the top 150. He's a top 100 guy now. Aiden Pouncey, he was a top 152 guy before the last update. Now he's closer to the top 100. So all these guys are moving up in the rankings.
Talking about in the Rivals rankings.
Yes, this is all in the Rivals rankings. That's where my research is. At the end of the cycle, I'll do more research on the Rivals industry ranking. But yeah, it's just a combination of Notre Dame recruiting the high-end talent. There's been a whole lot more 5 stars and 4 stars, and even those guys that are already highly rated, Rivals is been improving their ratings as they gather more information about those recruits throughout the cycle.
Yeah, it's exciting, dude. Bo says, "Can we finish with 4 5-star commits?" I'm going to give the short answer because I know Kyle will just really dive into this. The answer the answer is yeah, it's very possible. The 4 on the screen right there: Dunham, O'Brien, Kari Adams, and Premer per the industry ranking. But like, I feel like I've written this article in the past couple cycles after signing day. Is how many 5-stars did Notre Dame sign by any of the major outlets that we use? So that would be industry, rival. So industry again is 33% Rivals, 33% 24/7, 33% ESPN. So that's the Rivals industry ranking. Do you have 5 stars there? Do you have 5 stars just by Rivals? 5 stars just by 24/7? We're not going to use the 24/7 composite, but just by 24/7's rankings or any by ESPN. And if you just look at that, then I think it could be 5 stars. Could you Dunham? And it's possible guys could lose their 5-star ranking. That's very possible as well. But Dunham, O'Brien, Adams, Premer. There's the 4 on the screen right now for folks watching on YouTube. Ebenezer Uatade, 5. Grayson McHugh, it would be 6. Grayson is already. So who is ranked as a 5-star now? Dunham by the industry, O'Brien by the industry, Grayson McHugh by Rivals. And who am I missing, Kyle? Do you know? I guess I can actually just expand this and we can look. This is the great thing about On3. So Rivals 24/7 has Dunham and O'Brien, and ESPN doesn't. So that's the 3 already ranked as 5 stars. Just using all of them, right? How many rank as a 5-star? 3. And it could get up to 6, Kyle. 6 using all of the websites.
That's insane to me because, I feel like at least in the NIL era, the recruiting class we've always referenced as the pinnacle of recruiting, at least recruiting 5 stars, was Texas A&M's 2022 class when they signed, I think, 6 to 8 5 stars.
That was just by the industry. Who knows what it was by the other? But if you use all of them,
yeah, I'm sure when you have that many 5 stars, they're probably all going to be on the same page. But anyway, I mean, that Texas A&M class ended up turning out to be an absolute disaster. Disaster. I don't even know how many of those guys ended up staying at A&M, and if they're even elsewhere.
It's like 4 D linemen. They all left.
Yeah, most of those guys really haven't panned out to the rankings. But the difference with Notre Dame is Notre Dame's just not buying recruits. These are all guys that Notre Dame has vetted for a long time, and they come from favorable high schools, favorable fan. I mean, Notre Dame. There's Notre Dame kids, and Notre Dame scatters all throughout the country to identify them. And they got lucky this cycle because there's a lot of elite prospects who are Notre Dame kids. So
yeah,
definitely working out in their favor. Now we just got to hope that these guys maintain their rankings because it'll make things really fun closer to signing day. Since we do, in fact, expect everyone to sign. We're not really worried about any potential flip candidates. So it'll be fun, man. Signing day, we're always writing our news stories for who signs, and might have to do a lot of them this year if Notre Dame ends up signing 5 or 6 5 stars.
Yeah, or 6 or 7. Kyle, I do apologize when I kind of intro, what your life this week. I forgot to mention give you my public condolences on your grandfather passing away. I know people. Yeah, that's made the rounds on the message board. You asked for your prayers, so have been given your family my thoughts and prayers, and very, very sorry for your loss. I know how important your grandfather was to you. So publicly, Kyle would like to give your family my condolences. Yeah, Bo N.D. Johnson says, from my readings, this class is tight, believes in Freeman, no departures from the class. You never say never. If I had to put a chance, a percentage on there actually being a decommit in this class, it's tricky, Kyle. One, because I hate doing percentages and I just kind of walk myself
Yeah,
into it.
maybe don't. Yeah, maybe
No,
don't.
well, all right. Well, this is the thing. Chances are there is one because just history. But if we talk about each recruit, there's like none of them. There's no drop risks that we're hearing about that like Notre Dame's going to part ways with anybody. I'm not hearing about it. And then there's no one visiting. There's no real hype about other schools. Like even the reporters who are going to see Notre Dame commit to cover other schools, they're walking away from those being like, the kid says he's solid. Like, yeah, of course, like a Texas or a Michigan or Ohio State or whatever school is talking to the Notre Dame commits. Of course, the Notre Dame is a badass class. Of course, they're talking, and the recruits, like man. Of course, the recruits are going to respond. They're not like responding nonstop and they're talking to these other coaches 24/7, but the kids understand that this guy could go to the NFL or this guy could come to Notre Dame or like maybe it's possible that I could leave Notre Dame. It's not like they're going into Notre Dame with one foot out the door, but maybe they don't start and they have to transfer elsewhere and they could end up with that coach on staff. These are the things going through these recruits' mind. They're not just going to say, no, I'm not talking to you because I'm committed to Notre Dame. Like, you keep the door of communication open to just be cordial because you never know what's going to, you're not going to be an asshole. Sorry for cussing for no good. Like, there's no reason just to appease random Notre Dame fan in Wichita, Kansas or something. Like, you keep the line of communication not closed for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my rant on that. So to keep, so like break down what Notre Dame has to do to keep a top 5 class. One, you can't have any decommits from your top guys. Like when Deuce Knight decommitted, who, using Knight as an example, by the way, seemed very, very solid, right? And then, like, I think an Ole Miss reporter predicted him to flip in May of last year, and it was like, the hell? Like, I was with Deuce Knight the day that flip pick went in. We were at the Rivals or the On3 Elite whatever event, and Deuce Knight walks by me. And I'm like, Deuce, what'd you think about that crystal ball? And he's like, bro, that's crazy. I don't know what that guy is on. Or you said something funny like that. I don't think Deuce liked the Ole Miss stat. Like, I don't think he really liked Ole Miss. So there's like nothing to see there. And then you visit Auburn at the end of July. And then it's like, oh, now it's game on. But until a kid visits elsewhere, or there's like real talk about a flip, like, oh man, like there's something to see here. There's nothing to see. Okay. I'm gonna stop my rant. But anyways, you can't have any guys flip. Yeah, when Deuce flipped, that really hurt the ranking. And then you do need some rankings improvements, like the individual rankings, like Kyle talked about. We've had some very good bumps in the positive direction for the Irish. There's always going to be the negatives, but you need more moves up than moves down. That's going to help. And then maybe any potential additions. There's really nothing to report on that front right now. And then, Kyle, I wanted to look at, so the class score for Notre Dame you guys see on the screen is 92.66. If that holds, let's say Notre Dame does not have this another rankings change, no more commitments, no more decommitments, everyone's ranking stays the exact same, where would that finish relative to past years? So this is the 2025 class. A 92.6 would have had Notre Dame finishing at number 6 overall. And then you look at 2024, it would have been 7 overall. So 6 or 7.
I will have to interject on this because I don't know if I'm going to pretend I know what the phrase logical fallacy means. I don't know if that's relevant to this. I just know that there might be an error in this thinking because I've realized it myself in the past that On3 is not fully graded the recruits, or Rivals hasn't fully graded the recruits. So mathematically, that number is going to be a little bit off because, I mean, more than likely, it's not guaranteed, but, Kari Adams, for example, he's probably like a 94 or 95 by the end of the cycle.
So you're saying there will be an inflation. There will be an inflation. All right, so if it moves up to 93, then it's like so what you're saying, but that's rivals specific, which would impact the industry.
Yes, it would, and I'm sure 24/7. I don't know anything about ESPN, but I doubt 24/7 is like finalized their grades. I'm sure they're
right, yeah. All right, well, yeah. So yeah, subject to change, but just to kind of give it a little perspective. So yeah, even if there's like a rankings inflation or something, because guys get bumped to 5 stars just by being in the top 32, is that kind of what you're alluding to, Kyle?
Yeah.
Then would change a little bit. So yeah, but still right around top 5. So if I had to guess right now what Notre Dame's class would finish up at, I will actually tell you in a moment, because we're going to hear from Augie's locker room. We know you love Notre Dame memorabilia and one-of-a-kind, unique Fighting Irish. Items, trinkets, everything, anything you can think of. It's like Augie's probably had it or is offering it. So check it out, Augie's Locker Room, 1733 North Ironwood Drive in South Bend. It's just down the street from Notre Dame. So if you're in town for a game soon, you got to make time for Augie's Locker Room. Check out their wide selection of Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and one-of-a-kind Rockety items. You got the exclusive Joe Montana signed items, and famous sculptor Jerry McKennica's replicas of the bronze statues from around the stadium. Augie gets new stuff in all the time. If you want to get geared up with some used team-issued Notre Dame cleats, gloves, pants from 2017, jerseys, you name it. Helmets, I don't know about shoulder pads, but I'm sure he sold it before. You can get it at Augie's Locker Room. So see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. Augie's Locker Room.com, 574-277-6363. Yeah, I would think that, man, just saw a tweet. YouTube TV and NBC are nearing the end of their deal, potentially putting live college football and NFL at risk. The deal expires September 30th. I know YouTube TV is very popular. I loved YouTube TV like 7 years ago, but it's just gotten so expensive, man. It was like $30 or $40 in 2018 or something, and it was amazing. It was the best thing ever. The user interface of it is incredible, but then it got to be like $79, and I'm like, I'm just not doing this. So it's crazy. But yeah, if I had to guess where Notre Dame finishes right now,
they have the ammunition for top 5.
They do. I think it'll be 5 or 6. That's my guess right now. But don't take that for granted. Notre Dame hasn't signed a top 10 class since 23 by the industry ranking, or maybe 24 was 10 or 11. I have it saved somewhere.
24, it ended up being 11 by the time signing day rolled around.
Right. Yeah, the February signing day, like Florida got a new commitment, just inched past Notre Dame. So
remember that was a real bummer because it changed the whole narrative of our football recruiting magazine. It was all back-to-back top 10 classes that became back-to-back top 11 classes, which was just
and now it's like 3 straight top 12 or or 4, whatever. But yeah, I remember writing about 3 straight top 10 classes. Notre Dame hadn't done that in 20 years. I think it was like 2004 to 6 or something like that. So yeah, it's few and far between that Notre Dame's done 3 straight top 10 classes. And Kelly, I'm just going to pull this up. I have a document saved on the rankings, but Brian Kelly, how many times? I think he did it 0 or 1 time. Where is my document on this? Industry team rankings, Notre Dame. So Kelly signed a top 10 class once. Sorry, twice. 2010, the number 10 class. 2013, the number 4 class. And then 2022, it's a tricky thing. I don't know who you give that credit for. Maybe a little bit of both. We'll give the benefit of the doubt. And he signed the number 6 class in 2022. But Freeman took over as head coach. He was already the DC for that cycle. So it's kind of like, and then 2023 finished 10, 24 11, 2025 12. And it looks like Notre Dame will get back into the top 10 for this class. And again, by the industry ranking, Brian Kelly did not sign back-to-back top 10 classes once. Freeman, I personally have given him credit for the 22 class, or you can give them both. Do it's like an Instagram collab. They can collab for both claim the top 10 class there. But Freeman, first 2 cycles, top 10 classes. So yeah, and then 22 to 2025, 4 classes in the top 12. For Kelly didn't do that. So pretty solid. Any other thoughts on this whole discussion, Kyle, before we move on to other topics?
No, pretty in-depth breakdown.
Are they taking super chat questions? Sure, go. Chat's not moving very fast, and even if it is, we always take super chat questions. So, fire away. We'll do our best. Bo N.D. Johnson, really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure to see you commenting on the message board and Twitter and here as well. So I do appreciate you. Well, I just closed out my outline for the show, so let me pull that back up. Flip watch. Notre Dame targeting some guys committed elsewhere in the 2027 cycle, Kyle. I know 2 guys you'll want to talk about here, so I'll pull up their profiles, but a big one is Amir Brown, who's visiting Notre Dame for the USC game. So who all do you want to talk about here?
Yeah, just kind of wanted to just touch on some of the early flip targets for Notre Dame, because, these cycles are being expedited quicker and quicker. I feel like a lot of programs have turned the page to the 27 cycle. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's with the I don't want to hypothesize too much, but Notre Dame I know is really focused on 2027. Now that most of their guys all of their guys are in 26 are locked in, and their attention is keeping them that way. So a couple guys going to be on campus for the USC game, which is never too early to discuss, even though it's on I think October 18th. One of those guys will be Amir Brown, who caused some chaos in Mike and I's lives right before the Texas A&M game by saying he'd be visiting Notre Dame, but it would be in 6 weeks for the USC game. Steve Wiltfong and I, we both predicted Brown to Notre Dame back in April, and we both felt pretty good about it back then. The commitment to North Carolina, I think it was in August, came as a complete surprise. Amir didn't even visit North Carolina over the summer. I don't know when the last time he had visited Notre Dame or North Carolina before committing to the Tar Heels. So yeah, that commitment really came out of nowhere and caught us off guard. And Mike, I still have not gotten clarification from you. Do I have to change? What do I do to my RPM right now that's on Notre Dame for Amir Brown now that he's committed to North Carolina? What if I think that Amir will end up flipping to Notre Dame, which I don't know for sure yet. I just know that Jaywan Slider can't be counted out. And if this thing keeps trending Notre Dame again, what do I do with my RPM? Do I just leave it as it is, and will I get rewarded for predicting it correct, or how's this thing work?
I think that might be a Luke question.
All right.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's no problem.
Maybe you change your confidence level or something. I don't know, like 5%. I don't know, which I think is I don't really care about the confidence level anyways. But yeah, I really do not know. We'll
find out after October 18th how we're feeling after that.
Bo says, come on, spell's your next guy. Yeah, that's a notable one. Kimon spell, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Boy, that cat is a heck of a running back. I don't know if you can throw up the Rivals highlights that it was a video I took. Rivals edited it. We don't have to look at it. But anyway, yeah, Kimon Spell, I went to cover his game earlier this year. He's from Pittsburgh, committed to Penn State. Multiple Notre Dame visits have been in the works throughout the last couple months, has never ended up coming together. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the latest buzz is about him coming to the USC game. I mean, last we heard, he's got that visit set. I would be surprised if he didn't make it, but his recruitment's kind of unpredictable. But I know Notre Dame is right at the top of his list. There's, some chatter I heard, a couple weeks ago that, teams are feeling that Kimon Spell won't actually end up at Notre Dame, when it's all said and done. So that very interesting recruitment to follow. It's worth the, whatever stress or annoyance it is for the Notre Dame staff to kind of deal with it. Not that I'm saying Keymon spell is a problem at all. It's just like anytime you're dealing with a prospect committed to another school, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. So it's definitely worth their pursuit. I mean, this guy, probably one of the best prospects I've seen in person. This performance of his junior debut was pretty remarkable. I think he had like 360 all-purpose yards and 3 or 4 touchdowns. So yeah, one of the best backs in the cycle, and Jaywan Sider is one of the best position coaches in the cycle. So you can't count out Sider flipping him to Notre Dame, especially considering Spell committed to Penn State when Sider was the running backs coach last year.
Yeah, really good player. And then last but certainly not least, or it's not last, I don't even know. I can't think of who else off the top of my head right now, but Taven Epps from Tustin, California, Texas commit, 4-star defensive end. Yeah, visiting for the USC game as well. Blue and Gold reported this week, Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tustin High School has a lot of Notre Dame targets, and I would say there's multiple of those guys who are really interested. I know Jeremiah Williams, a defensive lineman from there, came up in camp.
Oh, yeah. He's visiting this fall, right? You reported
Yeah,
about that?
he'll also be on campus for the USC game. And Williams told me and other reporters after his Notre Dame visit that he actually just told me that Notre Dame is, I think, in his top 3 or one of his top schools. So Irish will be one to watch there. And, this Epps recruitment is pretty interesting. I've been tracking it for a while because Epps had plans to visit Notre Dame in the spring, but then he made this surprise commitment to Texas. That visit got nixed, but a lot of schools keeping in touch with him. He's making the tour this fall. Notre Dame is going to be one of those programs. They've recruited him super hard. So, it's going to be interesting seeing on campus for that USC game because even though we said that the Texas A&M game was Notre Dame's marquee recruiting weekend, still was, but this USC game is, it's going to be right up there in terms of high-profile recruiting weekends that we've covered in the Marcus Freeman era.
Yeah. Other commits elsewhere. Brown. I'm just looking at our list. Spell. Is that it for now? So right.
Yeah, those are really the main 3. Notre Dame's going to be keeping in contact with everyone at this point. There's a couple wide receivers who are elite guys. Khalil Taylor from Pennsylvania committed to Penn State. Jameer Brown committed to Ohio State. Both in-state commitments. So those guys will be tough to flip, but we know Notre Dame's not going to give up on them. So. But yeah, we'll see what kind of movement they make with those 3 guys come next month.
Folks, please hit the thumbs up on this video if you have not done so yet. Subscribe to the channel for more content. If you're listening to this as a podcast, thank you very much. Ask that you would leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. We're gonna get to your super chat in just a moment, but before we do that, we got to be real about something. Buying tickets for your favorite sporting events and more can be an absolute nightmare. You have the queues, the logins, the prices jumping at checkout. It can take the fun out of it, and that's why we've been using Game Time, and it's a game changer. The app and website puts the advantage back in your hands. In just a couple taps, you'll get great seats at a great price, and tickets do start as low as $25. So concerts, comedy, sports, and so much more. The price you see is the price you pay. No hidden fees, sneaking in at checkout. You can even see the view from your seat before you buy, which is awesome. And there's zone deals. You pick the section and Game Time picks the seats and you save even more. Plus, everything is backed by Game Time guarantee. So you know the tickets are legit and on time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets for, again, sports, music, comedy, theater, and so much more. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code ON3. That's ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. GetGo says, do you think Notre Dame is spending too much, too little, or just right on NIL money for players? Kyle, there's actually a hidden font. Get Go says this question is for Kyle Kelly first. What do you think, Kyle?
Boy, I think that I just talked to a student from John Carroll University, which was my alma mater, yesterday for about a half hour about NIL and recruiting and NIL and college athletics, and I really did my best, but I just wish we had Pete Nakos here to give us more of an idea. On three's NIL reporter who, he specializes in this stuff. But from what I gather, Notre Dame's always been pretty responsible with NIL.
That's a great word to put. Great, responsible.
They have. And that has especially become more apparent since Mike Martin joined. Not to say it wasn't, a focus there before, but Mike Martin came to Notre Dame in part because of his specialty managing a salary cap. Mike Martin was an NFL guy. In the NFL, they have a cap. Say it's $150 million. That's what you can spend on your roster. You got to be under that. So you got to navigate contracts different ways. There's so much stuff that goes into it. You have to be an attorney to figure it out.
Is that like a USB port that you have in your hand, Kyle? What is that?
Yeah, I have I don't know. It's just over here. It's one of these cigarette lighters things that you plug your phone into. So yeah, I have all kinds of stuff over here, man, that I play with.
I usually have a pen that
look at this. Got a golf towel here. I'm an interesting.
Sometimes I have the pen, and I have the pen out to make me look like I'm smart and I'm taking notes during the show. No, I'm just brain rot, dude. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah, just finalizing or finishing up my point here is that Mike Martin was brought into Notre Dame to manage the quote unquote, what's going to be a salary cap for Notre Dame with this revenue share. Giving NIL as a booster is supposed to become more complicated. I don't know if it has, but even in the past, I feel like it took Notre Dame a while to really get caught up to speed with NIL, because I think a lot of Notre Dame boosters were a little bit skeptical about, what if they're going to get a return on their investment. So, I really do think that Notre Dame is right there in the most competitive in the country with NIL, especially in the transfer portal. And let's be frank, I don't think as great as Notre Dame is recruiting right now, I don't know if they get some of these guys on their commit list if they don't have it figured out with NIL. And that's not to say kids are getting paid up front or, some of the wild, wild west things. It's just the fact of the matter. Once these kids get to campus, Notre Dame's got them taken care of.
Yeah, I love it. I think you made a great point. It's responsible. They will, man. It honestly reminds me a lot of Liverpool. I'm a big Premier League guy, and the off season, it's all about buying players. Think free agency in NFL, but you have to become a free agent, right, to get picked up by another team. And Premier League soccer overseas and England, anyone is up for sale at any point. It's straight up a market. You just buy players. And Liverpool, my team has been, very responsible, and they just won the league last year because, it's you can spend a ton, but just because you buy all the players doesn't mean you're going to win. You can, buy the most expensive players, but they have to be able to fit together and play together, and they don't say dressing room, or excuse me, they don't say locker room. It's a dressing room. But things just the culture has to work in the dressing room over there. And, again, just because you can spend $1 billion in a year, $1 billion. Yeah. You think that 20 million roster thing is what crazy? About $1 billion. I think Chelsea has spent, but then you also sell players. So you make some money, but anyways, I think Liverpool is responsible. They will definitely spend big, but Notre Dame, I think, does as well. I mean, you've seen them get some top guys out of the portal, they're doing it smartly. They're not just going crazy. And high school recruiting, they're very responsible. And NIL too. These kids are making money, but I think that the way they go about it, the parents of Notre Dame kids get it, right? They understand that it's how do I put this? they can smell BS, or like when they're being sold something, right? And I think that they get Notre Dame. Like it makes sense. So I hope that does kind of answer the super chat get-go. I appreciate it. Moving along. Yeah, Kyle, we both were on the road last week. We're not going anywhere this Friday. I've got nowhere to go, and it's just a good opportunity for to hang out with the girls. And I know it's going to be a great time for you to just be with your family, Kyle. But in terms of our travels last week, I will start. I did a video earlier this week about my trip to see Aiden Pouncey, so I won't spend too much time on it. But he was great, man. I had a story at blueandgold.com that you can find with quotes from him talking about the game, and 3 touchdowns. He had a 50-yard touchdown, just an easy blow by 9 route down the sideline, and 2 pick sixes. Had a handful of tackles, including a TFL, and had a really good game. His team was down early, and Pouncey led the rally with his pick sixes. So for folks watching on YouTube, I'll pop up these 3 touchdowns. This was just the easy blow by. He was bracketed all night until this play in the second quarter, and his team was down 17-3 at this point, I believe. So this was a huge moment in the game. Here's his first pick six, where he told me that this receiver was not on the field or not lined up out here very much. So he felt that something was up and that they weren't going to be throwing to him. So he said he didn't drop back very much. He jumped on the flat route here, and the ball was tipped up in the air, just dropped by the receiver and landed in the worst place possible for the offense, right into the arms. Even for Aiden Pouncey, which gave Winter Park a 31-23 lead. So they went from 17-3 to up 31-23 late in the third quarter. And then just to kind of in garbage time, had another pick six where he just kind of played free safety, middle of the field, and read the quarterback's eyes. He told me that was the exact.
Check your phone, brother.
Give us 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Kyle. This is making for great podcast, I know, but just give us a second. We got a new commitment for the Fighting Irish. Kind of teased this at the beginning of the show. There you go. We can talk about this in just a minute. Richie Flanigan committing to the Fighting Irish, folks. We will discuss that to wrap up the show. Let me send out the Instagram post, Kyle. We have not had one of these on a show in quite a while. Some breaking news that we thought was going to be before the show, but it took a little bit. Richie Flanigan pops in favor of the Fighting Irish. So here's the profile. I've had this pulled up the entire show. If I hit refresh, it should say Notre Dame commit. It might take a second. He goes to Notre Dame.
I promise you I did it.
He goes to Notre Dame Academy in Green Bay, Wisconsin. His father is Jim Flanigan, who played for the Irish in the 90s and then with the Bears. I believe he won the Walter Payton Man of the Year award back in the day. And his older brother is James Flanigan, tight end for the Irish, a freshman. So yeah, there's a new commitment for Notre Dame. Not exactly a shock, but Notre Dame beating out Michigan, Wisconsin, Duke, Illinois, a few others for his commitment. So yeah, it's a solid one, Kyle. You done with everything on your end about this?
Yep. Yes, sir.
All right, what do you think about this commitment?
Yeah, I mean, so I wrote 5 thoughts about it that you can check out on Blue and Gold. Some of my more extensive thoughts about Richie Flanigan's commitment, but there is one I didn't include. And I feel like Notre Dame fans, I'm just hypothesizing here, but maybe take these legacy commitments for granted, just like they should be automatic. But ironically, Marcus Freeman talked about in his press conference earlier today when he was asked a question about Bryce Young that, when they were going throughout Bryce's recruitment, they're like, if we can't convince Bryce to come to Notre Dame, whose dad went there and had so much success after his time at Notre Dame, Bryant Young, that is, the Hall of Famer. And what's been cool about Bryant is, he's had life after football, even after an NFL, being an NFL Hall of Famer. And Freeman's point was, if we can't convince these types of guys to go to Notre Dame, what are we doing? And Richie Flanigan fits into this equation. So, excuse me. I know Richie Flanigan, like, maybe he's not a guy that we have talked a whole lot about on this show or on the Loose Emoji message board, just because I feel like everyone expected him to end up at Notre Dame. So there maybe wasn't a whole lot of intrigue with his recruitment. But that still doesn't take away from the potential impact that he's going to give Notre Dame. Rivals, they project him to play offensive line at the next level. Right now, Notre Dame, the conversation has basically solely been defensive line. And if that's the case, really like what he's going to give the Irish up front. He has that pedigree with his father, playing defensive line for Notre Dame. His father is, at least when I went to go see James Flanigan, Richie's brother, a couple years ago, his father coached the defensive line. So, he's been tutored by his father to play that position, who is obviously very successful. And, Notre Dame, the sources around campus that we talk to are pretty fired up about this addition too. This is a really good player. He's continuing to get better and better as well. Every time he shows up to campus, he looks a little bit bigger. And, that's a nod to the type of work that he's putting in behind the scenes to improve and get better. So Richie Flanigan isn't a finished product yet, but he's one of those guys like a Donovan Heinisch last year who you may not really expect to become a key player like right away. But Donovan Heinisch was one of the guys that helped Notre Dame advance to the national championship game last year. Richie Flanigan's going to be the same type of guy for Notre Dame where he's going to help Notre Dame compete for championships.
Love it, Kyle. Sorry, guys, sometimes I get comments on YouTube videos where it's like, Mike is not paying attention. Yeah, I'm doing shit like this. Just kind of making sure everything is good on the back end. You never know. Producing a show and handling breaking news commitment will do it to you. Dude, did you see what Tom Lemming said about Richie Flanigan? That story I did. I was like, I have no idea. Sometimes Tom will be like, "Oh, Notre Dame's taking too many legacies, and they need to take, whatever." I'm like, "All right, Tom." For this one, he said that, and you can find the article at Blue and Gold, what the experts are saying. But he said that he gets Mason Graham vibes in Richie Flanigan.
Absolutely love that comparison.
Yeah? Why is that?
I mean, as a Browns fan, I've watched a lot of Mason Graham lately, even though as much as it pains me to watch the Browns. And Mason Graham is one of those guys who he doesn't have like that like the Riley Mills type profile where Riley Mills ended up on all those freaks lists with Bruce Feldman. And, Riley was a good player at Notre Dame, but he wasn't the number 5 or whatever overall pick in last year's draft. That was Mason Graham, who, even though that, Graham didn't have those elite athletic traits, which is why he wasn't that highly rated as a recruit, just a really, really good football player. The motor, the physicality, the IQ, Mason Graham had all that. So does Richie Flanigan. You can see it on film. I mean, he is just a really well coached and really good football player. So I see where Tom's really going with that Flanigan comparison. I now that he made it, I can see a little bit of it myself.
Yeah. So for folks watching on YouTube, this is sophomore film up of Richie, and really looking forward to seeing the junior tape. So if you're on our YouTube channel, give me a second. So here's our YouTube channel. Obviously, we're live right now, but I did post a video with me and Tyler James discussing the commitments. So
a YouTube video in a YouTube video.
Video and a YouTube video. Look at this inception going on here. So yeah, check it out. After you're done watching this, Tyler James wrote a film study about the commitment. So we are gonna, and Aussie family, please stop asking about this. I already told you. We're not going to speculate on replacements for firings that haven't happened. So please stop asking, Aussie family. You did this the other day. I just stop. Just please stop. Okay, Kyle. So yeah, you got to see Kobe Clapper, the Notre Dame linebacker commit. I really think I should be saying 4-star. He's not, which is shocking to me. I think he's a stud. You just got to see him in person from Cincinnati St. Xavier. I know his team fell. It was a top game between two powerhouses in the state of Ohio. But what'd you see from Kobe Clapper?
I saw a linebacker who really battled through a sprained ankle injury to put on a pretty impressive performance against one of the top teams in all of Ohio. The St. Xavier, the team that Kobe Clapper plays for. By the way, real quick, he is in the white uniform wearing number 1 there. So hopefully my video shows him enough where you can see that. But some of these scrappy piles he gets in, it's hard to see him. But that's also a little bit of a nod to the type of player he is. He's physical, and he really battled through a little bit of an injury on Friday night. And as I was saying, this where he plays St. Xavier and the opponent Archbishop Moeller, it's one of the top high school games in the country every year. It's one I love to see. I've covered it, I think, 3 times now. And Clapper really showed up. He had 10 tackles. That was second on the team. Played pretty much all of weak side linebacker, the will backer for most of the game. One thing I wanted to see going into the game was Clapper's skills in coverage, but he wasn't really – Archbishop Moeller, despite having one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, didn't really throw the ball a lot, especially in the first half. The game plan was to run the football. And I felt like Kobe Clapper really answered the bell there. The one thing that's really impressive about him is he's, we call it the green dot guy, so to speak, where he's the one calling the defense for St. X. And I know Notre Dame, they see the same potential in him to be a leader on defense. And I love that, Mark. Yeah, so second time I've seen Kobe Clapper. Unfortunately, he was a little bit hampered by that ankle this time around, so it didn't look as explosive. Like, I feel like that's pretty obvious. Like, to say, like, when you're playing on one leg, it's a little bit more difficult. But he still produced. Unfortunately, St. X lost, and all right, I'm not going to say what I wanted to say about. Okay, fine.
Do it.
With these high school games.
Well, no, never mind. Don't say it. I know what you're about to say. Don't say it.
No, I wish, number one, that it's impossible to have, but I wish these high school football teams had communication people who can work with the media. And number 2, I wish the coaches had a cooling down period where we could ask them questions after the game, because I'm sick of trying to do my job as a reporter after losses and getting in trouble for it. So, hello, Mike's child.
This is my daughter's debut on YouTube. You guys going to the store?
Yeah. Are you on?
Yeah, I'm on my show.
Oh, that's fine.
Say hi. Can you say hi to Uncle Kyle? I love you.
I love you.
Sorry, my wife came in, and I was like, "No, you can go."
That was a sign for me not to say what was on my mind. But I felt like I needed to.
It's okay. I didn't pay attention to anything you're saying, but I'm sure it was great, Kyle. All right, what a show. I did say at the top of the show, I was like, this is going to be an interesting one. And I was like, because Flanigan, sure enough, committed to Notre Dame as we expected during the show. So that is going to do it for the show. Like I said, Go watch the video of Tyler James. Great insight from him. He was a former offensive lineman in college, lower level, didn't play for like Notre Dame or anything, but a former college offensive lineman, knows the interior. So it's really good stuff from Tyler James. So make sure you watch that video. I will link it in the YouTube comment or the live chat here if that works. I don't know if you can just easily click, but go watch that. And yeah, that is going to do it for this show. Great stuff from Kyle Kelly. Really appreciate you guys all tuning in. And as always, everyone, yes, Singer's trying to get the thumbs up from the chat with the daughter. So that if it worked, I hope it did. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up before you get out of here. And as always, we will catch you next time.